Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tom Hunter Pratt. I'm the Multimedia Specialist for the Institute of Child Nutrition. I'm going to allow a few seconds for everyone to come into the webinar. As you're coming in, I have a few announcements for you. So everyone is muted by default. You are in listen-only mode. And at the end of our presentation today, at the end of the panelist presentation, we will have Q&A. So be sure to look for that Q&A button and enter any questions you have. Also, at the end of today's webinar, you will get a pop-up asking you to complete a survey. So your feedback is valuable to us, and we ask that you please complete that survey. You will also receive follow-up emails within 24 hours of the webinar. The follow-up emails will contain that same survey link. If you happen to miss it, you can take it there as well. It will also contain the link for the recording. You can access the recording for today's webinar. Within 24 hours, you will also receive a certificate of participation. So be on the lookout for that in your email. We'll send those out within 24 hours of the conclusion of the webinar. All right, well, thank you all so much for joining us. I'm going to turn the presentation over to Janae.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the April School Nutrition Star webinar on strategies for motivating and celebrating school nutrition professionals' achievements. I'm Janae Owens, an Education and Training Specialist with the Institute of Child Nutrition, and I'll be moderating today's webinar. For the newcomers coming in, during the webinar, all attendees are muted. There will be time for questions following each speaker's presentation, and if you have a question, please type it into the question box on your screen. We will try to get to as many questions as possible, but due to possible time constraints, every question may not get answered during the webinar. Individuals who have registered for the webinar will receive an email at the conclusion of this webinar. The email contains the webinar recording link and a link to the evaluation survey. Please complete this evaluation survey. ICN will send out the certificates within 24 hours. ICN collaborates with USDA to host monthly school nutrition star webinars to provide attendees with training, real-life strategies of program implementation, and best practices for use in action plans and or goals. Training topics, free resources, and educational materials are also highlighted to assist school nutrition professionals with navigating through the enhanced responsibilities of school nutrition operations. The Institute has created a website for all materials and resources specifically related to the webinars. You can find the information at theicn.org/star. The topic covered in today's webinar fall under the key area, communications and marketing, and meet the USDA Professional Standard Code 4100, Communications and Marketing. Joining us on today's panel is Keith Lewis. He is the Senior Area Manager for Operations in the Nutrition Service Department of the Houston Independent School District. In his leadership role, Lewis oversees and directs 21 operations managers who support the implementation oversight of all school nutrition programs provided to the district's 284 campuses. Additionally, he is responsible for the student eligibility and accountability, as known as C, area that ensures the district complies with federal and state compliance and that all eligible students have access to free and reduced applications. Lewis has built a career on delivering top-notch customer service. While in the U.S. Navy, he served 2 tours of duty in the Afghan and Iraq campaigns as a cook, making healthy and nutritious meals for over 6,000 sailors. Prior to joining Houston Independent School District, Lewis has had stints in Halliburton as a dining facility manager for the military overseas and was a partner with Sonic Corporation and a general manager at Jack in the Box. During today's webinar, Keith will share some key strategies for motivating school nutrition staff and celebrating their dedication and hard work by highlighting how Houston ISD motivate and celebrate their team's efforts and achievements. Before we bring Keith on, we have ICN's graduate assistant, Amber Wade, to give us some wellness tips for the school nutrition professionals, and others on the call today. So I will turn it over to Amber.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amber Wade, and I'm a graduate assistant here at ICN. And us graduate assistants have been working on developing a wellness initiative for child nutrition professionals. And the first phase of the initiative is going to be coming out soon, and it's going to be a series of posters that are going to be released every week through our social media platforms as well as by email. So to give you guys an idea of what to expect with this initiative, I just wanted to share with you a couple of mental health tips from 2 of the posters that we've developed. And so this first tip comes from our poster on strategies for effective stress management, because stress is an everyday part of life and it can really take a toll on our mental health if it's not managed well. And so the tip is make time for fun and relaxation. So this is going to look different from person to person, but some healthy ways to relax include going for a walk, calling a good friend, spending time with your family, or just reading a good book to escape. And then this second tip comes from our poster on maintaining a positive attitude at the workplace. So positive thinking is defined as processing information with a positive outlook. And so one tip that can help you do this is shifting your perspective from the I have to mentality to the I get to mentality. So for example, instead of saying I have to go to work, instead saying I get to spend time with coworkers, or I get the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of children. So staying positive at work can also help you stay motivated. And it's been shown to reduce stress levels, which could in turn boost your productivity and help with your decision making. So those were just 2 tips from 2 of the posters that we've developed, but there's going to be 8 posters in the series overall. And we're going to cover topics ranging from nutrition and exercise to the importance of sleep. So be on the lookout for those posters coming out soon. And now I will turn it over to Keith for his presentation.
All right, thank you so very much, Amber. I appreciate that. Hold on just a second, guys. Having some difficulty here. All right, thank you so very much. I do apologize for the little technical difficulty there. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. I'm pretty sure that you can. So we're gonna just, I wanna thank all of you for, taking a little bit of time out of your day today to kind of sit in with us and learn a little bit more about HISD, Houston Independent School, the Houston Independent School District, and how, and some of the things that we've done to kind of develop some programs and also motivate, educate, and encourage our staff throughout this global crisis that we've all experienced over the past year and a couple of months, right? And so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. The front line, engaging school nutrition staff during the global crisis. A little bit about the district. We're the 7th largest school district in the nation. And largest in Texas, 276 schools now, 196,000 students, 75% low income, 84% of our district is Hispanic and African American. And then we speak a little over 100 languages in the district. So let's talk a little bit about nutrition, the nutrition service department. Overall, we have a 2-fold mission. And two words that we really drive home to all of our employees is good food. And so you constant, that's a constant, the two constant words that we use throughout our department is good food, good food, good food. And what does good food mean to us from a nutrition service standpoint? It's flavorful, it's wholesome, it's colorful, it's locally sourced, and it helps the learning, helps fuel learning for our kiddos. And then we teach the importance of healthy food, living healthy lifestyles, and then so that students feel empowered about the impact of their food choices. And here in nutrition and HISD, I think we believe that that is extremely important. And so some of the breakdown is that, here in HISD, we're a 100% CEP district. We serve a little over 44 million meals a year. We have 2,200 employees in the department. 241 of our schools have salad bars, so a kid can go through the serving line and pick up their salad bar, pick up their salad as they go through the lunch line. 84 of our campuses have gardens. We have 84 school gardens in our campus, and then one educational work farm. And so the beauty of that educational work farm is that it is a 6-acre farm that we continue to develop and cultivate. We were on a leadership meeting earlier today, and the director of the department is like, I'm on the farm now. So it's exciting to, see them out on the farm, to see the work that's being put into that farm, because ultimately, under the leadership of Betty Wiggins here in Nutrition Services in Houston, we want our kids to have more than just a consumer relationship with their food. And that's why some of these things are implemented and in place. So our kids can actually be educated along with, where does this come from? How does it grow? And have an opportunity to spend some time on that farm and learn a little bit more about it. So we're excited about some of those programs that's happening here in the department. Okay, so COVID-19, a global crisis. About a year and a couple months ago, COVID-19, kind of ravaged not only our nation, but the entire world. So, during around March 12th last year, our district announced that we were going to close. And so 2 days later, 2 days, we rallied a team together, and we're in we performed our first community distribution was held. And we served a little over 1,000 families, and in the matter of 2 days. So it was a lot of scrambling, a lot of planning or just quick planning needed to go in place to pull that type of event off in a 2-day turnaround. But I think nationwide, we all kind of felt the impact of what COVID-19 did for all of us throughout our districts, and we were all scrambling. So our district closed. 2 days later, we opened our first distribution. And doing so, we implemented some new models. To feed students and also to feed families, while maintaining a school cafeteria environment. And I think we all know that, in nutrition services, there are 3 components to our business. There's kids, there's regulations, and there's revenue. And if you're a basketball fan, that's the big 3 for nutrition services: kids, regulations, and revenue, right? We advocate for kids and ensure that we try to put the best meal in front of them as possible. We do that compliantly through the federal and state regulations. And then also at the end of the day, revenue is not a bad word, right? We need to generate enough revenue to cover the cost of our expenses throughout the year. And hopefully at the end of the year, we have some money left over so we can reinvest into not only our staff, but the programs that we want to do moving forward. And so what the pandemic has taught us is that, we needed to reformulate our KPIs to help successfully implement these new business models as we react to what's happening through COVID-19 and throughout the nation. And that's just a testament to how well the team has performed and what they've done over the year based upon those new KPIs that we've developed. And And in doing so, at the start of the year, we budgeted $31 million deficit. And so here we are a couple of months away from the end of the school year, and we are scratching close to breaking even. And it's just a true testament to not only the team and the leadership and, here inside of the department, but just the dedication of our team members and those lunch heroes out there that are serving our kids on a day-to-day basis and the families that they come from. And once we get through just the workings of this slide, then we'll start talking about how we've motivated those employees throughout. And so some of those models that I was talking about is our campus-based curbside pickup. I think all of us across the nation have experienced some sort of curbside pickup. So we had about 45 campuses throughout the district that we offered this curbside pickup to for our virtual learners. And then, as the year progressed, we got a little bit better about, how we close some sites and repurpose our labor, and utilize our employees and put them in a position to thrive and be successful in certain areas. And so we started to maximize that curbside opportunity and canvass the district in strategic areas of the district where the communities are serviced the most, are needed the most assistance. Our mass community distributions, we have about 7 or 8 mass community distributions. We have one on Wednesday, and then the remainder of them are on Saturday. And those distributions is where we really drive in, where we really find families that are in need, and our students are coming from those hungry families. So I think it's important to know that the partnership, the community relationships and the partnerships that we've developed over the year have helped us feed those families and the students that are a part of those families. So the Houston Food Bank is one of our partners, and so each participant that comes or shows up to these mass community distributions, they'll receive 30 pounds of food that they can feel they're covered and help feed the family for a week. And then there's also kids' meals, breakfast and lunch for 7 days for all the kids in their family, provided the proper documentation. In addition to the family food boxes, and then also the kids' meals, at these mass distributions, what we've learned is that, in our most neediest communities, there were additional items that could be used at these that we could hand out. Early on, it was tough to get masks. And so we were providing masks for the community members that showed up. We were providing hand sanitizer and gloves, some of those essentials that you started to need on a day-to-day basis that everyone couldn't necessarily get their hands on. And so we had big donors and big donations to give out to come to the district, and we were utilizing our mass community distributions to hand that out to the communities to ensure that, we're helping to keep our families safe, students safe, the staff safe, but also meeting that base need of food. In addition to that, there's also, we handed out masks, sanitizers, and personal hygiene items. So community members can show up, and yes, they got their 30-pound box of food, they've got their kids' meals, they got masks, they got sanitizer, they got deodorant and hair shampoo. And we also handed out boxes of Tide. Isn't that great? I mean, my employees they were so excited at the end of the distribution when there's Tide with bleach left over and there's Gain left over, and it was like, oh, wow. And so, it's just, to see the smiles on the faces of those community members that we were serving, because in seeing how the need in those communities, it's really been beneficial throughout this whole year. We've all experienced tough times, but it's definitely been worth it. Some of the efforts that we've put forth. What I think is very unique in Houston, and some of the things that really another one of those beyond the plate type initiatives are our apartment complexes. And so, we go to about 25 apartment complex units a week, and we're serving large virtual kids, large number of virtual students in those apartments. And it's just another outside of the box approach or beyond the plate approach to reach kids. If you just sit back and wait for them to come through the serving line, well, guess what? Those for this year and maybe even next year, those days are over. with limited amount of enrollment, and especially in our middle and high schools, where kids are going virtual, we really put a huge effort towards, getting into the community where our kids are, getting into the areas where we can bring the food to our students and make it accessible and easy for them. And so those are some of the programs that we implemented throughout the district to not only put ourselves in position to be successful, but to also help the community and to help feed those kiddos that are out there not learning inside of our in the brick and mortar environment. And so, as you can see from the pictures on the previous slide, the pictures from this slide, they're 6 days a week. We're out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the operation calendar. And as it looks in a week, we serve food on Mondays and Wednesdays at our curbside sites in the campuses. On Mondays and Thursdays at our curbside sites at the campuses. On Wednesday, we do a huge distribution at one of our football stadiums that services over 1,500 cars a week. And then on Saturday, we have 8 distributions at 4 of the other football stadiums, our educational support center, educational support facility at Hattie Mae White support facility, and then a few other of our elementary campuses, we serve on the weekends as well. And so putting all that together, yes, we've worked 6 days a week for a long period of time. And I know you're probably thinking, how in the world are you getting people to work every Saturday coming out? There's a method to the madness. And so we've worked 6 days a week for quite some time to help our community members, our students, and just get whatever supplies and items that we needed to the community as much as we possibly could. We felt that it was a need, there was a demand. And we remained consistent with that, because how do you build a strong customer base? Consistency. If a customer knows that you're going to be there on Saturday from 2 to 6, continue to be there on Saturday 2 to 6. Every single Saturday, regardless to what the weather looks like or what happens. I was talking with someone earlier today, and I was like, yeah, y'all are like mailmen. Rain, sleet, snow, doesn't matter, you're there. And so there's been plenty of days that we've been rained on, and we've had some tough weather, but through it all, we still see those smiling faces of community members that are coming through, and that's what we're there for, right? We're there. We are definitely there for our customers, and to build a solid program through our pandemic stage, during this pandemic time. So preparing and serving 8.7 million meals to students and adults, distributing 44 million pounds of food to households and supplies to families, and then staffing more than 10,000 distribution sites. That's a lot. When this slide was created and I started looking at the numbers, I'm like, we have really done over 10,000 distribution sites over the past year. And I started adding it up and doing some quick numbers, and I was like, yeah, that's right. It's hard to look back on and think that we've actually serviced that many distribution sites and that many people, that many pounds of food has really been handed out. But it's true, another true testament to the lunch heroes that service the city of Houston. I am so proud of them, and I'm just glad to be a part of the team, to be with them. And so, how do you keep families fed and staff motivated while doing all of this? And so I'm glad you asked the question. How do you do all of that? And that's what we really want to get to, right? How do you keep these people motivated to continue to provide this stuff in rain, sleet, snow, or whatever? And so I absolutely love this hierarchy, and this may pull up some of your old college courses and some of the old stuff that you've learned back in the day, a long time. Like Maslow's hierarchy. Oh my goodness, it's been years since I've seen that thing. And so, but it is so true. And this is not a district philosophy. It's not a nutrition service philosophy. This is a Keith Lewis approach to addressing needs for employees on a day-to-day basis. And ultimately, what I've been trying and my best to do for over the past 4 years or so since I've taken over the department is cultivate an environment of unity, and provide opportunities for our staff members to be successful, to thrive, and ultimately to reach their potential in their role and responsibility as it relates to what they do for HISD and nutrition services. So at the very base level, what we're doing on a day-to-day basis is, that base level of need was we're providing food, water, and rest, right? Food, water, and rest. So we definitely have the food and the water covered, and that's because we do that on a day-to-day basis. But it's also important to ensure that our staff member is well rested. They have the adequate amount of rest that they need to come back and continue to do a successful job for us as they do each and every day. And then once that need is met, then you get to the next level of need in the employee, and that's the security. And so I shared the last time we had this presentation, we had a presentation with ICN a few months back. And the last time I talked about this in this presentation, I talked a little bit about safety and the importance of safety. And safety is almost like a morale booster. And so safety in our eyes, we provided masks and gloves and hand sanitizer and made sure that people were socially distanced, and we really provided flyers on the wall and on the floors and just to make sure that everyone is aware. But what that did from an employee's perspective, I do my little polling with my employees. What do you think about, how do you feel, how safe do you feel coming back to work, and what are we doing to make sure that you're safe? And they was really excited about the fact the team really helped me understand that it was important to them that we took their safety as important as we did. And we made the steps and put those things in place to provide a safe environment for them to return and also focus on what the goal at hand is. And so securing that level of need of safety and making sure that they're in a safe space and a safe place was extremely important to our staff, and always will be. Once that level of need is met, then we get into that level of relationship and friendship and camaraderie. And I think this is kind of where I thrive, because I absolutely love motivating and encouraging the team, whether it's a rally or a chant or a pre-shift meeting, or if it's just encouraging words, or in the old time post pre-pandemic, giving somebody a hug or a high five, or just little things like that to make employees feel connected and feel involved. And once meeting that level of need, you would be at this third tier. Once you meet that level of need in an employee, you really start to begin to see the employee buy into the program that you have developed for them to follow. Once that relationship piece is met, I have friends I can depend on. I have colleagues I can count on. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Girl, with my 2-inch sheet pan, where's my, so when those types of things come on, you have a friend that you can count on and depend on. And cultivating that environment of unity is what we continue to thrive on, is just that you can depend on me and I can depend on you, and meeting that level of relationship. And you'll see in some of the pictures, you get to a feeding site and team members are, they got a certain tent that they want to work in because all of their friends are over there. They've got a strategy put together, and each one of these tents, they know how to hand the stuff out. Girl, you handing out the milk, and you're gonna give away the fruits, and I'm gonna do the proteins. Okay, that sounds fine to me. But they have routines, and from week to week and from distribution to distribution, you start to see friendships develop, and they're exchanging numbers. And when you have 2,000 employees, you don't necessarily see every employee every day. However, when you come out on Wednesday and it's 200 of us out there, then you start to see some of those employees on a regular basis bond relationships and start talking about different things other than just meal components and the day-to-day stuff that we talk in nutrition services. So providing that camaraderie. Once that level of need is met and you get into feeling that accomplishment, the sense of accomplishment, and I firmly believe that that's where we are now, is that sense of accomplishment and understanding that, we're starting to get the recognition and we're starting to get some of these things for all the work that we've done and what we have achieved. Just sharing with your team, being truthful with your team about the status, where we are, where we stand, and giving them an opportunity to be involved and have those conversations with them, feeling that sense of accomplishment and knowing that, hey, we've done this. These little the pre-meetings and post-meetings that I would have early on after every distribution were just absolutely, it's just a part of developing that culture that we're looking for. And so at the end of a very hard distribution, I started by telling them, hey, listen, we're at NRG. This is where the Houston Texans play. So about 5,000 cars are going to come through here. Just be real with them. And that's one of the most important things you can do is with an employee, and it's going to be a tough day, tell them up front, it's going to be a hard day. It'll be very hot. You're going to go through 18 bottles of water and you will sweat and your shirt's going to get wet and you may smell like watermelon when you leave. It doesn't matter. Enjoy the moment that you have with the people that you're here with. We're here for a cause. We are here on the front lines, and guess what? Every single person that comes to this line needs something that we're handing out, and that's what this is all about. And so being up front and letting them know in their head is like, oh, it's so hot. Well, I told you it would be. Let's drink some water together. Come on, and let's keep going. And so, but then once you get to the end, that sense of accomplishment, you could bring them back together and say, hey, listen, 5,000 families were taken care of today. That is absolutely amazing. That is what excites the employee and continues to bring them back. When you're part of something like that, it just gets you extremely motivated. It gives you goosebumps at times when you say, I can't believe how many people we've really fed. And then being a part of those distributions where the mayor comes out and recognizes you, our superintendent comes out and recognizes you. That those are the things that helps the employees really say, you know what, I understand, I'm bought into the cause, I know what it is that we need to do, and look at what we've accomplished over the years. So I believe that that's where we are in our department as it relates to the distributions, where we are as our in this hierarchy of need. But there's more than a handful, but there's quite a few employees throughout the district that have definitely reached this top tier. And I'm going to talk a little bit about especially one reaching that top tier of her full potential in what it is that she does to a day-to-day basis. Once you hit that top tier, that's when you've got an employee that's not only doing what they need to do in theirs, but they're spreading that positivity and encouraging others in other campuses to do exactly what it is that they're doing. So now they're advocates for the program. They're in addition to your voice of what it is that needs to happen on a day-to-day basis. Let me speed this up. Okay. So achieving your full potential. These are just some photos that we have of just different sites, really just out there having the employees get engaged, not only with the family members, but handing out food to the community members. And you see the little kiddos there. We've got staff members that are there handing out our student meals to community members that show up. Some of the mandatory signs that needed to be posted and hang, you see there. An aerial view of our educational support facility at Hattie Mae White. And if you can see there at the bottom of the picture, there's tents that are set up. Each one of those tents has a certain amount of food in it that we're distributing to the community members, and they serpentine throughout the parking lot. And this goes all the way down the freeway. If you see all the way to the top of the picture, that line goes all the way down the freeway. So, that day it's over 1,000 cars we served, so the need is definitely there, and it continues to go through. And we're really excited about just how we're able to help service the community here in the city of Houston. Oh, you see these wonderful gold shirts that we're wearing at each and every one of the distributions. That beautiful good food logo that's on the back of all of our shirts now, because we really just want to drive that message home, not only to our team members, but to everyone that sees those shirts. And it makes it real easy, to be honest with y'all. When I walk into a school and I see burnt pizza, all I have to say is that good food? Oh no, that's not good food. Yeah, take it off. What do we serve? Good food. Okay, let's no ring death around the pizza. So pull it off and let's serve good food. So it makes it easy for us, So we've got that, and then this young lady here is when you have really achieved your full potential. So we have a customer service impact award that one employee is awarded in the entire business operations department. And the business operations is comprised of about maybe 7,000 employees. And so she was the recipient last month. And it's a customer service impact award. And so this young lady sought us out. She came to, she left her school, which is about a 45-minute drive, came to the Nutrition Service Support Center here at the central office, and kind of tracked us down and said, Miss Betty, I want a distribution at my school. And so of course, Miss Wiggins was taken by surprise and said, okay, let's start working through that. And she initiated having a distribution at her site. And now this young lady serves over 600 to 700 cars every Saturday. And just because she wanted to do it, she wanted to be a part, she wanted to be involved. She knew that there was a need in her community, and she got up and went and did it. And so there's so many things that, we just have to understand that your current condition does not definitely determine your outcome. Regardless to what's happening and what's around us and what's going on, that does not mean that you just give up or you just say it's over with. It's not it. She took it and realized that my mentality shapes my reality. So I'm going out there and I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go after it. And this is what I'm gonna do. And she absolutely did that. And reaching her full potential, now she has 3 other schools that's doing the exact same thing that she's doing in her area. So her positive attitude has affected others inside of the department. Developing that culture of this culture of unity, listening to the employees, actively listening. I know we always talk about this in coaching classes, and actively listen to your employees, but listening to the employees, they're taking their recommendations into consideration, understanding that they may be able to provide some really good feedback. One of my employees was telling me that, hey, Mr. Lewis, maybe we should take some of the employees out of this tent and kind of spread them out a little bit and to help expedite the flow. And so that was a great recommendation. It slowed down some of the bottlenecking, and we were able to move the customers through the line a little bit faster. And so model what it is that you're trying to implement, right? Be the first one there and the last one to leave. I've done that for months. First one to show up, and you're there with the forklift guy, and you're setting up tents, and then you're the last one to leave to ensure that everything else is there and established. And then you take that and hand it off to your other leads that are going to run the program. Don't ask the employees to do what you wouldn't do yourself. And then all employees want to be alongside the boss, right? Everybody wants to have, if the boss is there and is involved, they definitely want to be a part of where the boss is. So developing relationships, going to different distributions and understanding the importance of it. Now, it takes me a long time It does. It definitely takes me a long time to get through the entire distribution and say hello to everyone and how you doing. But that is extremely important. It does not matter how many of the employees are there. The fact that you stopped, you said hello, and you acknowledge them is absolutely important, because there's nothing worse than you being in charge and your employees are there and you just walk right past them back and forth without saying anything. And so they really feel as if, what am I here for? The guy doesn't even recognize. And so it's extremely important to just know that that you gotta recognize your employees that are there. And then you find out great things about your employees. And then address complaints that come up. Anything that may be a hindrance to your project, we address some of those complaints. And so all of those things really just help the employee understand that, one, they're listening. Two, once you execute one of the concerns that they have brought up, then employees start to have buy-in into the program and what you're doing. And so that's always exciting to get employees to offer up suggestions, start making ways to help streamline your process. And it also helps with KPIs, because they become very efficient. You don't need as many employees out there doing what it is that we're doing. And so that is a part of the way that we have developed this culture of unity. And then hard work, rewarding the hard work. Last slide is just really talking about some of the things that we've done throughout the year to recognize our employees. Next week is our Lunch Hero Day. Of course, we do know that. Behind me is my Lunch Hero wall that the team put up for me. I was really excited to see that. And so Lunch Hero means a lot to us. And next week, we have a presentation. We've got a proclamation from the mayor of Houston. And so we'll have a presentation next week at one of our large distributions from the proclamation to our Houston Independent School District nutrition service employees, recognizing them as school heroes for everything that they've done. So our superintendent will be there, delegates will be there, so we'll have plenty of people out there to help recognize the employees. There's a lot of things that we've done throughout the school year, little stuff like buying them hoodies when it's cold, those good food hoodies, stuff like that. Some of you may or may not know what Whataburger is, but Whataburger is may not be a national chain, but it's a hamburger joint. So we absolutely love, only in Texas, we absolutely love Whataburger here in Houston, Texas, and in the surrounding states. And so Whataburger reached out and said, okay, we want to give you some office swag and give you some stuff for employees. So every one of my employees got a few coupons for some free Whataburger. And then we've got some lanyards that they sent out to us. And of course, everybody has sanitizer these days. And so we got Whataburger sanitizer. I guess that's what the employees use when they're at work. So we got the Whataburger sanitizer. All of our employees got, of course, the wonderful Good Food shirt. And then, so that was the shirt that we've used all year. This is our Lunch Lady shirt, Lunch Hero shirt that we will start wearing next week. We've also given out these amazing jackets to our staff. And so there's just a lot of things that we do for our team. Throughout the summer, we had a parade that we drove around all of the office staff, all of the central office personnel. We decorated our district cars and had balloons, and they were flying all down the freeway. And so we went around to each school and we did a parade for all of our employees that were out working hard in the community to help feed our kids. And then we also did a distribution just for employees, because our employees are a part of the community as well. They're in just as much need as we are, or as our other community members. And so I can't tell you how important that was. For us to stop and say, this distribution is strictly for employees. So come and get some food, get family food boxes, get you some, get some hair shampoo and sanitizer and masks. And those things are really, that was really important and definitely helped boost the morale of our team. And so those are just a few things that we've done throughout the district to kind of encourage and motivate our team throughout the pandemic. I hope that you guys got something out of this. I don't have a whole lot of time left for questions. I'm so sorry. I told them I'm a talker, and I'll just keep talking about some of the amazing things that we're doing. But last but certainly not least, I have a little short video that I would like to try to play just to kind of show you how to get involved with your team and what that means to them. And any other questions, we'll just try to answer them as fast as we can.
All right, man, let's go. Let's go to do the keep it special. Come on, let's go.
Thanks, everyone. All right, so at this moment, because I know we're really short for time, at this moment, I'm going to hand it off to Amber Wade.
Okay, we can take a few questions if they come in. We can take, yeah.
Okay, sure.
Right,
Okay.
there seems to be a question that came in. I'm not sure if you can see that one.
Donations of sanitizer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so there's quite a few folks that have donated to the. I know we got a donation from Whole Foods. They sent sanitizer to us. The city of Houston sends out sanitizer and masks all the time. We get donations so many. That's really a great question. I got to put a list of donors together. So that's a really good question. Can you get a copy of presentation? Sure. How do you keep serving students? How do you keep from serving students twice at the school and picking up? Okay, great. So our distributions are for virtual learners. That's constant communication that goes out in a weekly robocall to the entire district. It's about 500,000 people. So it's community members, family members, students, staff, to help them understand that distributions are for virtual learners, and then our brick and mortar students are fed in the campus. Now, and then we also have all of the TDA requirements that are hung up at every one of our distribution sites to help with the feeding feeding students twice. Okay, so hopefully that helps answer your question there. On employment, and yeah, for incentives and t-shirts, yes, that is used inside the department. Sounds like an awesome program. Shout out to Betty Williams. Okay, great.
Hey Keith, if you could, do you mind reading those questions out loud when you enter those? The attendees can't see those.
Oh, okay, sure. Yes, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay, so how do you account for employees that didn't have kids when they distributed employee boxes? So just a quick overview of the distribution. So we've got an intake team that starts at the beginning of the serving line, at the beginning of the line, and the line wraps around the football stadium. Our intake team is about anywhere between 15 to 20 people. They collect all the accurate documentation to make sure, and then on the window, it'll write how many kids are in the car. And so and as the car comes up to the first tent, that amount, the pre-pack, we pre-pack student meals for the week for each one of those kids, so that we get one for each kid that's marked on the window. And so that's how we determine whether the kids are a part of the family, how many kids and how many meals go into that particular car. And then for the food bank boxes, every family gets a box. Really good question. Because, we had to work through that process for a while. So many ways to keep your staff. I am so impressed with so many ways to keep your staff motivated. How would you suggest working? Okay, so good question. What would you suggest? What would you suggest to workers that resist despite the efforts? That's a really good question. I think that what I've always shown, what I've always said, is that it is not a mandate for my employees to come out. But what I do want is I want everybody to have, I want all of my employees to understand what the purpose is and what we're doing, and to focus on that. There are other things that the employee can support. The employee can support an initiative. We do have so there's COVID restraints early on. If there's some stuff that comes up, there's always a support role behind the scenes, like entering meals, or a support role like creating all of the flyers, getting all the paperwork together. So those are just some of the recommendations that are some of the suggestions that you can use just to help motivate that employee or get that employee involved. And once they take that first step of doing something, highly recognize it. And then that sense of recognition, a lot of people like that, and like, oh, no, let me do it again. What else you need? And so I'd say start there, try there. How long did it take to get buy-in from the employees from the time you started? I would say, it's a really good question. I would if this not long at all, just to answer the question, not long at all. But I think that's because we've developed this culture here in nutrition services that, regardless to the condition or the situation that we're in, it does not matter. We're definitely gonna move forward and try to execute as best as we possibly can. I think if this would have happened when I first took the department over, I don't know how long it would have taken me to get buy-in, but that's a really good question. And I think if you're just starting out and your team doesn't, and there are not very many people that are on board with the program, it's going to take some time. It'll take some time. Nice job training the staff, special. Okay, just more, just another saying, nice job training the staff. How did you get the tide? So those are donations through the foundation. So the question is, how did you get the tide and other items to give to the community? That's a donation that was given through the foundation. And so we also advertise that as well quite often, is that if you want to give to the community distribution sites, if you want to give to the district, you can go through the foundation to give that. And then the foundation then in turn will bring it out to the site. And that's how we continue to give those things away. Good question. There's also partnerships that you can develop, and so not everybody has the luxury of having a community relations or community development or community partnerships department, but we do, and I utilize them all the time. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone with her, the director, this morning, and saying, "What's next?" So. If you have that department if you have that team within your district, utilize them heavily, make them your friends. Do you pay your employees overtime on Saturday? So that's a really great question. That's a part about the restructuring of our KPIs. It's an absolutely great question, and something that all of us would want to know. And so, Saturdays ends up being no overtime. And here's how we do it. You know, I've got 2,000 employees, yes, but those 2,000 employees typically would work anywhere from 6 to a 7-hour day. What we've done this year is we've had to staff according to the business needs. And so with the reduction in our brick and mortar kids, or the kids that are inside of our campuses, that means the hours of our employees have had to reduce. And so what we did is we created split shifts. So we got half of the team that'll work in the morning and prepare for breakfast and lunch. The other half will come in after and work lunch and then prepare for the following day. So we work split shifts, and then they end up, by the time you get to Saturday, you may be getting close to 30 hours or so, but that's a really good question. These questions keep rolling in. I think that's okay. It's just about it. Cool. So any other questions? I think that, okay. So, I think we're having technical difficulties again. Any other questions? No, I think we're good.
If I'm looking correctly, I think all the rest of them are just praises to you and your team for doing a great job.
I think that's what we got here. Okay. All right. Well, I now will turn this over to, I'll turn it back over to Miss Amber.
Thank you. Before we conclude today's webinar, we would like to share a couple of announcements. There are some new and exciting changes coming for the ICN's online learning platform, and the online course system will launch on May 24th. We will have a new and tailored experience while continuing to provide easy navigation. And then we also just wanted to remind you to register now for the upcoming Culinary Institute of Child Nutrition webinar by visiting theicn.org/CICN/. The topic area is Farm to School, Tips and Strategies for Purchasing from Local Producers. And the webinar is going to be held on May 6th at 2 p.m. Central Time. And now I will turn it back over to Janae.
Thank you, Amber, for those announcements. Before we conclude today's webinar, I just want to review the learning objective for today, and that was to identify key strategies to help motivate and celebrate staff as it relates to school nutrition program operations for the 2020-2021 school year. And as final reminders, this webinar has been recorded and can be viewed on the ICN's website at www.theicn.org/star. The webinar certificates will go out in the next 24 hours. Please complete the evaluation survey for this webinar as ICN appreciates your feedback. In closing, I would like to thank our panelists and thank you all for attending today's webinar. This concludes today's webinar. Have a great day.